Hey, so today I want to talk about my obsession with symmetry. It's very different from my obsession with contamination, but it's also kind of the same. It all falls under the same umbrella. My obsession with symmetry is basically, it has to do with my body, and I need for my body to be symmetrical. And so if this hand touches something, then a lot of times I have to equalize, so I have to use this hand to touch it as well. And it isn't even just my hands though, it's like my legs, my feet, my shoulders, it's really anything. So like if I brush up against the wall or something with one side, then I have to do it with the other. And it isn't for any reason really, except for that I feel wrong when I don't. Like I can feel kind of like this tingling or like pressure or something like that whenever it's uneven, and then I have to fix it. So that can be kind of frustrating at times, and it can leak into a lot of things. For instance, like I might be on the computer. This actually happens a lot, and it's like kind of embarrassing, and also just really frustrating. But what I do is I'll be like on my computer reading something, and I'll just be scrolling along, hitting the arrow button just to go down, and my mouse is on the page, and it'll be on like one side, and that'll bother me, and it'll just bother me as I'm scrolling. There's my mouse right there on this side of the page, but I can't do anything really about it. I can swap it to the other side, which I do sometimes. I could put it in the middle, but if it's in the middle, then it's in the way of the text, and I don't like that. And then when I want to like pull it over to this side, like if I'm pulling it over to the other side, the cursor, then it might like go over text, and if it does, then that's bad. And like if it goes through like a break, then I know where that break was, and it just feels wrong and uneven for the cursor to have done that. So I know that sounds kind of dumb, but that's one of the things that really bothers me. Especially because, like, I know, I'm on the computer so often, and I just get really frustrated by it sometimes. I feel like a lot of people have tendencies toward the kind of obsession with symmetry that I have. For instance, when I walk on sidewalks, I have to like step over cracks, not because stepping on the cracks themselves is bad, but because if I step on a crack with one foot, then I have to step on a similar crack with the other foot in the exact same position, which can be pretty hard to do, because, I don't know, it's hard to get it exactly right, and I can feel it. I can feel if it's just like a little bit off. I feel like this kind of clear divide whenever the symmetry is off. And there are some things that I'm actually kind of okay with. Like, you probably noticed my hair is parted on the side. I'm kind of okay with it, not really. It actually does still bother me a lot of the time, but I try to get it not to, and there are some things that I can try to convince myself, like this is the right way for it to be, it's in the right order, something like that, that it's somehow right for it to be off-center or something. And then I'm sure you can imagine other situations. I'm not ambidextrous. I am right-handed, So whenever I'm holding a pencil in this hand and like just, writing, then I am normally okay with it. I can normally make myself feel like it's okay. But sometimes I have to swap to the other hand and just like hold the pencil for a little while. And so maybe like if I'm in class taking notes, then I'll write with this hand, and then whenever the teacher is telling like a story or something, whenever my professor might be going a little bit off topic and I don't actually need to write it down, then I just put my pencil in my other hand and just kind of let it be there for a little bit. It isn't even just touching things though. What really bothers it a lot is like temperature. So if like I feel like this hand is colder and this hand is not, then that bothers me a lot, and I have to like touch them together to get the warmth from one hand to the other. But then the very fact that like I'm touching them and like this hand feels like it's getting colder and this hand feels like it's getting warmer, makes it just feel really wrong. So then I have to like try to get them to be kind of evenish, maybe touch other parts of my body, and then if that's the case and I touch like my face, then this side feels colder than this side, so I'll have to swap them like this, and then one hand will be crossed over the other, so then I have to swap them the other way. So it's pretty frustrating actually. And even if I equalize sometimes, it's just really bad, so that I can do something with this hand and then do it with this hand, but then I realize, well, this hand did it first and had it longer, so then I have to do this hand again and then do this one. And it depends. I can get into like really elaborate patterns where I have to do maybe this one once, this one twice, and then this one once to balance it back out. It can get more than that. It can just be sometimes really a lot. And if you know anything about being obsessive compulsive, and the kinds of treatments that we undergo, one of the things is exposure therapy, where you expose yourself to things that make you anxious, that feel wrong or whatever, and you try not to correct them. And I don't like to do that with contamination as much because, it's like contamination. If I get dirty, then like there's a consequence. There's an actual consequence. I'm dirty, or my things are dirty, and I don't want that. So a lot of times I do it with exposure therapy, with Symmetry instead, because it's not like I'm going to ruin my life if something's asymmetrical. I can be like, okay, there's no asymmetricalness on me. So that's one of the things I can convince myself to do if I need to work on it. Some other things that have to do with my body and symmetry, it's kind of interesting. When I'm in the car becomes like my body almost. It's like my symmetry needs to be where both wheels are on something like that. So it's no longer my body as much. And like I can drive like with both feet. I can use with one foot, like I can use the pedal. Occasionally I need to like hit the brakes with my left foot or something like that. But it's not normally the case. Normally I'm fine just using my right foot. And for that being kind of uneven and stuff like that. But both wheels have to be pretty symmetrical. There's this one stretch on the freeway that goes from here to the close big city. And it has this little strip on the side of it that's like darker, newer pavement than like the rest of it on the other side. And it drives me so crazy because I have to drive on that. And one wheel is on one thing and one wheel is on the other, and I can't even correct it because it isn't even like that on the way back. So it's not like I'm able to equalize it at all. It drives me so crazy. Hate it so much. Things like that. I mean, everyone experiences like a little bit of obsession with symmetry, but like I recognize that that's kind of crazy. Another thing is like if I'm walking and I like step in a shadow, then I have to step in the shadow with the other foot. And that probably sounds really dumb, that like I have to step on things of the same color with both feet and things like that. So like if I'm walking on something with like lots of colored stones or tiles or something, then I have to walk on similar colors with both feet. But it even is the case with shadows, like where the pavement might not actually be a different color, it's just a shadow, and I still have to do it. So I can be really annoyed sometimes when like someone is walking with me, or maybe I'm walking with a group of people, and they start walking in such a way that I have to walk in their shadow, and it's more on one side than it is the other. That bothers me sometimes, depending on how bad it is, you know. And yeah, that sounds crazy. It kind of is. It just feels wrong. So it's just like a feeling. I can even get this feeling like just looking at things. If I feel like there's something really bright and colorful on this side, then I'll get annoyed because I didn't experience it on this side. It was only like mostly on this side. That probably sounds crazy. It is, I guess, in a way. But it's really bothersome. Because sometimes, you know, you can't correct it. If I'm sitting in a class that's really heavily discussion oriented, and it's got like a long table instead of having like desks, then I might sit down at the table, and if I am not able to get a seat that's like closer to the middle or something like that, I might have to be like near an end. And if that's the case and somebody's talking like over on this side, it really bothers me because people are mostly talking on this side of me, and then I have to like look at them, and then sometimes I try not to do it because I don't want to look like I'm crazy, but then I have to like turn this way a little bit just to make it even. So sometimes I just have to like turn that way instead, and just to kind of even it out. And it's not, it never gets to be to where like it's actually even, because I do always like look toward the people talking more than I look away. But I just have to even it out like a little bit. So I do. And I probably look crazy, but I do. It goes so far as to where like if I get hurt on one side of my body, then I want to have that same kind of hurt on the other side. I read a story not that long ago about a girl who burned one hand accidentally, and then she had to burn the other hand to make it even, and she did that other hand on purpose. And I can really relate to that. It's hard for me to like cause pain to myself, but I at least have to get it like closer. And I always feel like I want to actually do it because I do want the pain on both sides, but it's like kind of this thing that your body does, you know, where your body is trying to protect itself. So I do that. And another thing is like this is terrible because it's like a combination of two things. But if I get germs, say on one leg, then I will want germs on the other leg to fix it and even it out. Actually, like, I don't want germs at all on either of them, but like, say I brush up against something dirty with one of my legs, then I'll have to do it with the other leg, and then I'll have to sanitize both of them as well. So that probably sounds like really crazy, but it's something that I have to do to make it even. So yeah, then you can see that's my obsession with symmetry. You can see that you can probably see that it gets really bothersome at times and really annoying, and it gets really hard to deal with. But I mean, it's just something that I have to do. If you have similar problems with symmetry, or if you have other obsessions or compulsions, then let me know in the comments. Let me know how my videos are turning out, things like that. I feel kind of self-conscious right now because I just took a shower a couple hours ago and I didn't put on any makeup. But I decided that I would make that one of my exercises, kind of like an exposure exercise, because perfectionism is a thing for me. So I want to look perfect and be perfect as much as I can, but exposing myself like this, I guess, is kind of helpful. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know.